Right, good afternoon, everybody. There's still quite a few people joining. We'll just hang on for another 1 or 2 minutes if you don't mind, and then we'll begin. Okay, guys, just 2 more minutes or so, and then we'll start. Thanks for your patience. Right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We'd just like to kick off by, first of all, just asking everybody during the presentation, we have an hour, so if you have any questions that crop up during the presentation, won't you please just type them into the Q&A section, and we'll certainly get to them at the end of the presentation. If we cut short for time, we'll send a written response to everybody who has thankfully joined us today. So first of all, thank you, for joining us for this webinar, which is focused on the Cardinal Innovation Roadmap to 2025, as well as the Flexi to C360 migrations. Regarding the Flexi migrations to C360, firstly, I'd like just to thank you all for your support as the underwriters and all your effort in assisting us with this process. It's certainly not a small task, unscrambling the data and the product egg out there on Flexi. But certainly one that we all will hugely benefit from, once this process is complete. I'm sure you'll all agree that the 3 primary reasons for Cardinal wanting to move Flexi brokers onto C360 from an underwriter's perspective, so that we can firstly get all the Flexi policies onto the underwriter's approved product, and then keep that product locked down so that a broker cannot underwrite anything that you are obviously unaware of, excuse me. And then secondly, to give absolute control of every product back to the underwriter for any future enhancements, any changes to that product, centrally controlled by Cardinal or your own version of C360 if you're using C360 Sync. And then obviously the third reason and driving factor is to get accurate and structured data back to the underwriter. So that you have meaningful data that you can work with and exactly what you are on cover for as the underwriter. So obviously some of our customers, during this period have used the opportunity to look around. We've been replying to certain RFPs, and they've been looking at what other systems are available out there if they're going to be going through this process of moving systems. And obviously our competitors have also, used the situation to try and pick up some Cardinal clients. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to express our appreciation, for the support and the backing that we've received from each of you as our partners, and for those brokers to stay on Cardinal. which has been, nothing short of overwhelming. So thank you very much for that support. In the same vein, from our side, I assure you that we are reciprocating your backing, and we have an experienced team committed to this migration process, which is overseen by our executive of professional services, which is Tanita Oberholzer, and also headed up by Lauren Wheeler. We also appreciate your support, obviously, of our C360 platform. And before we discuss the migrations, we wish to use this opportunity to update you on exactly what that is that you are endorsing, and why you and our clients should actually be very excited about C360. We've been investing heavily in this technology platform, for this newly connected world that we find ourselves in. And for those of you who haven't met Devin Reddy, he's our Chief Digital and Operations Officer. He's been with us for a year and a half. And he's going to be presenting, Cardinal's 2025 technology roadmap to you, followed by the Flexi migration update, which will obviously be presented by Tanita. So from me, thank you, for joining us this afternoon. And from everyone at Cardinal, I'd just like to thank you for the ongoing partnership and the support. So over to you, Devin. You're on mute, Devin.
Oh, okay, I'm unmuted now. Thank you very much, Graham. Good afternoon to everyone. I'm going to share my screen with you quickly. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, once again, thank you very much for your time. It's a real pleasure for us to be able to speak to you guys and give you an update on where we are. I'm going to take the next 20 minutes just to give you an overview of what our 2025 technology roadmap is looking like. And as we go through it, I'm going to obviously share with you some of the strategies that we focused on. And hopefully at the end of it, you'll get a good picture of what we're doing as a Cardinal business, also as a Cardinal group, and give you a sense of comfort in terms of your relationship with us and where we're taking the insurance journey from a market perspective. Okay, so please, like Graham said, send us any questions you have, and I'm happy to interact on a one-on-one basis after the webinar with anyone that wants to have a further conversation with us. I've only got 2 slides today, so I'm going to keep it short. This deck normally takes us about an hour and a half to go through, so Craig's given me a challenge to get through it in 20 minutes. So I have summarized it, and yeah, here we go. Okay, so we have an ecosystem and a platform that we're focusing on building out for the next 4 years. The journey didn't start now, it started more than 3 years ago, but it really came together in the last 18 months. And I think we're at a point now where we're very clear about what we're doing as a business. We're very clear about our technology and our innovation roadmap. We're very clear about our staffing, our skills development, so we're going through this change in our own business from a digital transformation perspective. And a lot of the stuff that we share with our clients, we're applying in our own business on a regular basis to make sure that we keep abreast of everything that's happening and we make sure our business model remains current. So today, I'm really just going to walk you through the different layers of our ecosystem that we're building out. And this is going to give you a good idea of what our landscape is going to look like over the next 4 years. So the first thing I'm going to start with is right at the top, we have the distribution channels. And I think that really hasn't changed a lot. So our platform, our current client base caters for all those distribution channels you see from 1 to 6, so insurer all the way to VAP providers. And I've added a reference to disruptors because, one of the big focus areas in our business around the innovation is to anticipate the disruption that's going to come into the market. Some of it has come already. It is going to happen. There's no way we can avoid it. We will see significant transformation. We'll see a significant impact of what digital transformation is going to do for the industry. And it's going to create a number of new opportunities for existing channels, as well as new channels that we're going to see that's going to come about purely because of the technology and the capabilities from a technology perspective. So our task when we did this was to make sure that we embrace all aspects of what this technology landscape is looking at. As a mature business, we've been around for 22 years. we didn't want to lose the value that we had created, but at the same time, we didn't want to remain stuck in our ways, and we wanted to make sure that we innovate forward so that our clients and the market has the best that both worlds have to offer. And those two worlds that we look at is split between what we label a mature business or a mature technology, like our policy administration system platform, and then all the insurtech, the latest stuff that's happening in the market, and the things that are coming into our business on a daily basis by either new partners, new vendors, definitely new players and startups. And we didn't want to be caught in the position where those players that are entering the market is probably taking advantage of a lot of the stuff that we've built up over the last 22 years. So we wanted to be completely responsive to the changes that are happening in the market. So right now we cater for all of those distribution channels from a Cardinal perspective. And in doing that, we look at the core requirements from a policy administration and insurance management system perspective. Now, we know traditionally that it's always been a product type business for us. So we had one product, which is our insurance management system, that's gone through 4 iterations in terms of its life cycle. We're now on Cardinal 360, and you see it at the bottom represented as the enterprise insurance management software. The one next to it on the right is Cardinal 360i. That's the technology that we've been building out in the last 3 years. It's a cloud native platform, multi-currency, multi-country. And this is a system that we're going to put into the market over a period of time. But right now, it started off with an international client where the product is already live. But as you know, building an insurance management system is quite a complicated task. And so we have a long way to go in replicating the depth of functionality we have in 360, which is the version that we run in South Africa. The good news for you guys is that we've taken care of the future technology stack whilst we're busy enhancing and still delivering value to our clients that are sitting on 360. And the way we're designing the ecosystem, there's not going to be any future data point at which clients would have to move from 360 to 360i. It's going to be a natural transition, and we're going to facilitate that through the new technologies that we're going to talk about shortly. Okay, so we're saying to our clients every time we talk to them about this, that you've got to make sure when you're selecting the platform that the functionality that you require, you test that functionality across all the elements of a typical insurance management business. And we've seen a lot of new entrants come into the market where the depth of insurance technical knowledge, it's not something that you can build out over a year or 2 years. So it's important that you have all the right checks and balances in place to make sure when you're selecting a system or you're selecting a partner, that all of the functionality you require for what we call a robust insurance management system is in place for you to be successful in creating the base. Now, the choice of the system is important because for us, we see it as being the base in your organization that's going to make all the difference to everything else that you're doing from a digital transformation perspective. And in saying that, we have a number of different journeys that we look at. Or sorry, let me just talk first about the advanced technologies. A lot of the conversations now starts at advanced technologies, and we either have work that's being done on the internet and mobile space around mobile apps, progressive web apps, emails, SMS, social media, call center, integrated solutions, more intelligent solutions coming to the market. And more recently, we have the advanced technologies, which is poised to be falling into the disruption from an industry perspective. Okay, so these are technologies that could possibly become disruptors of the industry and the market because it's creating an opportunity for our clients and new entrants to handle business differently and to create a new value proposition for the industry. Now, when we looked at our strategy for the next 4 years, we made a point of wanting to embrace these technologies, but we didn't want to embrace it as just acknowledging it as part of the ecosystem in which our system exists. We went further than that. And today within the group, we are able to deliver solutions across all of those channels as part of Cardinal. So we don't go outside of Cardinal to do that. We have teams, full stack development teams, front-end teams, designers that are able to build those solutions on top of our technology stack. Okay, and the benefit obviously to our clients is that this is pre-integrated, it works, it's an environment we control 100%. All our clients know what the data is able to do. We're now able to connect the dots between that front-end client experience that you're wanting to create and the back-end technology and the power of the policy administration system. And we've taken a very modular design approach in building out the iPlatform layer in our ecosystem. Okay. And in the iPlatform layer, what we're doing is we're building digital first technologies that's allowing our clients to differentiate their business proposition to the clients. And typically, those value propositions fall into the category of self-service portals, which are typically claims, policy, surveys, proposals, service provider management. Then we have data transformation services. So how do you extract data, synchronize data, ingest, convert, and how do you remain compliant with data? Okay. So that's very important. We then have artificial intelligence and business intelligence. So how do we use this data that we're aggregating across different partners, different environments, and from different subsystems? And what are we going to use it for in terms of trending and forecasting and identifying behavior? Because behavior, we know, is seen as one of those factors that influence digital transformation. Okay, so if you understand the behavior of your client, then you start to innovate and come up with solutions that's able to respond to a change in behavior. We then have quality management and compliance. And this is, again, in terms of the industry we're in, it's very regulated, and we know it plays a big role. So we've built platforms like iComply that takes care of those elements and still keeping it within the group. So all we've done with our strategy is that we've grown from a single product line of business systems provider into what we call the various layers of the insurance organization, which is typically going from the core, which is the insurance management system, into the API, then the digital layers, then the data transformation layers. And then the last layer that we target is the networking layer, where we connect all the partners that we deal with in a way which adds more value to the industry outside of our core business. So it's not just about our software, it's about bringing added value into the industry through partners that either use our software, use our data, are able to connect to us seamlessly and provide added value services to the industry. We've got remote working, productivity monitoring, a big one in terms of COVID and the experience we're going through now. So it's becoming more and more of a requirement for our clients to be able to know who's doing what, when are they doing it, how much time are they spending on the system, what sort of transactions you're getting through. So there's an emphasis and focus towards that right now. And we've got client communication management. So how do you deal with the client? What are the touch points? What sort of documentation? What sort of communication are you generating to the client? How are you generating? Is it automated? And then lastly, we've got proprietary software development. Now, this is where we will be allowing clients to work with us to build front-end solutions if we do not have it in the products that we offer. So the iPlatform suite that I was talking to right now, these are pre-built products that we're busy with right now that will be accessible to our clients and the insurance community. And one of the biggest advantages is that a lot of these technologies that we're building it agnostic of our PaaS system. So in other words, we're not just building it to be interdependent on Cardinal 360 or 360i. So if you're running a third-party PaaS system, if you don't have a PaaS system, it's not going to prevent you from taking advantage of these technologies. I'm gonna give you one example. In the client communication management suite, we've designed a product called iLink. And what iLink does is that it facilitates a seamless communication from a user desktop to an insured client and back again, and is particularly targeted at collecting information or having a conversation with a client where you don't have to pick up the phone or send the client an email. And this technology was built out of our experience with digital transformation projects that we've been busy with for the last year and a half. And the way it works is that if you're sitting on a claim or a policy transaction or a sales transaction, and you get to a point where you need a piece of information. So let's assume it's a claim and you're busy with a motor claim, and you get to a point where you need to confirm the client's ID number and you need a copy of his driver's license, let's say. You'll click on the iLinks icon on your desktop. It'll pop up a window and says, what would you like to do today? And it'd say, I'd like to make a generic request. Please, can I get the client's ID number and a copy of the driver's license? And it'll say to you, you'll type those two things in and it'll ask you, how do you want it to be fed back to you? And you'll say, I'd like this as an input field to be captured. And I'd like the driver's license to be a copy of a document to be attached as a document. You put in the client's name and email address and mobile number, and you press enter. It goes through the iLinks gateway. It fires off to the client, and it sends it to the client as an SMS and email, or depending on what your requirements are, it could be an SMS only or an email for both. The client gets it. It's completely personalized to our client. So it says, whatever your business name and logo is and your color schemes, it'll give you a pre-formatted communication, also standardized according to your own branding. And in there, it'll give you the message that you've dictated to us in terms of when we configure the system, and it'll have an embedded URL in, and it'll direct you to click on that URL. And when you click on it, it'll immediately take you to a portal entry point through a progressive web app that says, welcome to iLinks for the specific client. Please now capture the information as requested, and it'll only present the two fields that you asked for. So the first field will say, please input your driver's license here. Your ID number, and the second one would say, please attach your driver's license or a copy of your driver's license. You attach it, you press enter, it goes back through the gateway, and it pops up on the user screen as a new notification, and it pops up on the desktop to say, your request has been fulfilled, here's the information that you require. Okay? So that's an example of one version of a solution that we're building in the iPlatform suite that's built to be agnostic of 360. However, for all our 360 clients and the 360i clients, we integrated into 360. So that entire experience I just shared with you now takes place within 360. So now you're in a transaction, you're in a claim transaction, you need this information, you'll click on the menu on the top right-hand corner, it'll say iLink, you press enter, it'll pop up a list. You can either have the generic one that I discussed now, or you can have a pre-configured one. And a pre-configured one could be as comprehensive as saying, I'd like you to complete a claim form for motor. And you'll select the pre-configured one. It'll insert it into the communication. You press enter. It fires it off through the gateway the same way, goes to the client. But when the client clicks on the URL, it brings the client back to your personalized portal for self-service. And in there, we have an interactive claims experience. So your entire claim process is replicated, and the form, the client goes through that process, updates the information, and whatever you type in the front end is brought back into 360 as a single point of entry. So there's no duplication of capture. It brings it back in, it sets up a workflow trigger and says, you've got a response to the claim. It's coming via the web. It's a web FNOL, or it's a full claim, depending on which one you activated. And the claims handler will then pick up the transaction from that point. Okay, so that's just to give you an example of how we're designing and positioning these the iPlatform solutions that we're building. We're also anticipating that we do not want our clients to have this barrier to entry because of an upfront investment from a cost perspective. So most of the products that sit in that suite, when as a part of a Cardinal offering, will be a pay-as-you-go service. So you'll really literally swipe your credit card, you'll buy as many transactions as you want to use, you'll pay for it, off you go, use it, and then top it up whenever you need it. Okay, so there'll be no requirement for you to have to pay for the product to be built up front. The only time our clients will pay for it is when they take whatever we've built as a generic solution and they completely customize it to their own requirements. So then we have a specific project, it's a managed service, start to finish, we control, we manage it, we put our people onto it, and then it's got a very fixed time frame and a very fixed cost, and that's how we execute. Okay. And then the last layer, Craig, I'm not sure how I'm doing for time, but the last layer is the data transformation layer, and that's just bringing everything together in terms of the ecosystem. So we have a number of data management services and data utilities that we build into what we call the Cardinal Data Exchange. And within the Cardinal Data Exchange, we are able to, and we have worked and we still work on projects related to data lakes, data warehouses. We're able to give you a data exchange from Cardinal that takes all your data in a format, in a specific format at a very granular level, and output a file to you. So it doesn't matter which channel you sit in. As long as you're running 360, you're going to have the ability to extract that information and either share it with someone or take it as an input into your data warehouse or your data lake. We're also compliant as far as the industry is concerned with frameworks like Astute and Stride, Barnowl, and 360 Sync is probably the biggest development we've done in the space. And 360 Sync is where we are able to synchronize more than one instance of 360. So a typical scenario would be Insurer X has 30 brokers on their network, and all 30 of those brokers are running on Cardinal 360, and Insurer X needs to get the broker information back into the environment. We put a version of 360 into the insurer environment, and we switch on 360 Sync, and we're able to synchronize granular data from all 30 brokers seamlessly automated into the insurer view, and you can view that data as though you are transacting on the broker system. Yeah, there's a lot of other features of that product, but I'm not going to get into it now because I think I have some time constraints. But 360 Sync, the biggest benefit is the data aggregation, but it has bi-directional capabilities. So we can now control transactions between two entities that run 360. It just will become a choice of our partners as to how far they want to take it in terms of controlling the transaction. But it does away with emails and other engagements where you can control quotes and claims and mandates by using the sync feature within our platform. Okay, so this, when everything's put together, gives you the Cardinal platform play and the ecosystem that we're building out. A lot of this is already built, it's working, and we have working examples and clients that are live, but digital transformation right now is a big part of what we're doing. And we have, at the moment, we've got 10 digital transformation projects on the go, and then we have, I think, 12 implementation projects on the go, and probably about 15 migration projects on the go. So it's a very active space that we're playing in. We're learning all the time. But the important thing for us is that whatever we're talking about today, these are not things that we're planning to build. These are things that are either in build right now or we've built already. But as I said, every customer we go to, we customize as per the customer's needs. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about very quickly is when it comes to digital transformation, we've been very proactive in the way that we're planning to execute the turnaround of new digital solutions into the market. And what we've done is we've built a Cardinal rapid application development architecture. And we've got the architecture to a point now where I could use a CMS type capability to build a website or a self-service portal, build a form, and launch that form from the CMS without any development. And whatever I do on the front end development is completely integrated into C360 at the back end. Okay, so we're getting to a point now when we go into these conversations with clients, we no longer have to worry about going through a long development cycle. Every time we come across a new feature or function that is needed in the front end, we build it into our architecture, and it becomes just a very smart business analyst or someone who understands the business really well and has a leaning towards technology that can now sit with the content management capability and customize a channel. So we could launch a product, we could launch a sales front end, a website, we can create channels for multiple entry points. You know, we're doing this on an international basis where the channels are country specific, and all of that can now be done through a maintenance build, basically. So you don't need development to go through that. Okay, and that's why this architecture is so important to us. And then we keep adding to the architecture. So every time we, like iLinks that I spoke about earlier, it'll be a standard feature in the architecture. If you switch it on and you build a website or you build a client servicing portal, you'll automatically have iLinks on it, and whatever's on that portal works with the backend. Okay, so that's the advantage we have from having this ecosystem with the front end and the back end being controlled by us and developed by us. And that's it. That's at a very high level what's happening with us in terms of our digital journey and our innovation roadmap for 2025. Craig?
Excellent. Thank you, Devin. That was very well done and really well appreciated. Next, we're going to hand over to Tanita to take us through Flexi migrations and how we're tracking on it and how we approach it. So, Dev, if you'd like to stop sharing, and then Tanita, if you could please share. Great. Thanks, T. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes,
you can. Thanks, T.
Okay, fantastic. So firstly, welcome to everyone, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to chat to you guys today. I will be presenting on the Cardinal Flexi migration and the progress thereof. So shortly after we acquired Flexi, a migration strategy was put in place to make sure that we have all of our clients move from Flexi into our new technology stack within Cardinal 360. At first, we had a very slow start to the migration, but as word spread, more and more of our partners decided to embark on their 360 journey. Currently, as Devin mentioned, the Cardinal Professional Services team are managing 18 migration projects, and in total, we are aiming to migrate approximately 600 million in monthly gross written premium from Flexi into 360. We are cognizant of the fact that with every new system implementation, we have to consider three key drivers. Firstly, the technology, then the process, and then the people. So with the new technology that we're implementing, it brings about change in any organization into the process, and a change in process requires all of the people involved to be invested and participating in the change. So how does this benefit our insurers? So firstly, the migration brings about a unique opportunity for the revalidation of data. So brokers are really using this migration as a chance to clean up their data, obtain missing information or unconfirmed information from their client base. Secondly, alignment of signed off products. So as Graham mentioned when he opened, the drive towards signed off standard insurance products is a big drive within Cardinal and with all of our insurer partners. Because there's no copy paste from the Flexi environment into 360, it really allows us for all data to be captured against the latest, greatest insurance product, therefore ensuring that once data is moved across, the majority of the broker base will be on a signed off insurer product. With regards to the configuration controls that sit within products, another benefit is Flexi was, as I'm sure you all understand, very flexible in its capability to build and manage products from the front end. From a Cardinal 360 perspective, we have stringent product configuration protocols and controls, therefore making sure that our product department has overall control of signed off insurer products and the deployment of products from our products database into our broker space. As also touched on by Devin, we have enhanced integration protocols that reside within Cardinal 360 in the form of our Cardinal Data Exchange Library. Now, the Cardinal Data Exchange Library makes available multiple different sources of data imports, exports, and exchanges using the upgraded technology stack that resides within Cardinal 360. Lastly, but one of the more important items is Cardinal will control one data source for the bigger portion of the outsourced market, making it easier for insurers to deploy product and manage integration layers within the Cardinal 360 space. Now, what does Cardinal contribute towards this? So all migrations are executed as part of a project methodology, and Cardinal has and will continue to invest its resources to make sure that this migration strategy executes successfully for all parties involved. So we have different services that we offer as part of this migration strategy and as in assistance to our brokers and our insurers. And these include first and foremost project management in order to make sure that all tasks are executed on time and correctly. Secondly, change management. So change management is one of the key drivers and a critical part of the transition between Flexi and 360. Business analysis as part of the business alignment process is a key phase in the migration, making sure that Cardinal 360 is the right fit. All brokers are currently evaluating, if they are moving if they are moving systems, whether 360 is the right choice for their business and will make their business function optimally. A migration specialist gets assigned to every single migration project that we run, making sure that they are there through every step of the process to make sure that our brokers are supported throughout this journey. As part of bespoke development, if one of our clients has any bespoke product requirements, we offer product design. And then lastly, probably one of the most important building blocks of the migration is business process reengineering. The biggest change that, from a Cardinal perspective, that we need to manage or encourage is the change in process. So Cardinal has a suite of automated workflow processes and enhanced functionality that makes for a more automated, more effective working environment. As Devin mentioned, Cardinal 360 also enables a pathway into the world of digital transformation. And these two building blocks combined allows for full operational transformation in our broker space. It's important that we take them on this journey so that they can understand the value that not only the system, but the Cardinal platform has to offer when they migrate into the space. Other important components that we also don't lose sight of is the migration tools, which we'll touch on shortly, product alignment, training, and change management. We understand that the people that we work with are the most valued assets during this journey. And Cardinal Pro makes it their mission to ensure that all the participants are comfortable and are informed of changes as and when they occur or when it will influence them. Okay, so let's discuss the migration tools. So firstly, Cardinal can assist with a semi-automated migration. It has been designed to assist with the transfer of personal lines policies only. So from a personal lines perspective, it does require a mapping exercise to take place for each and every product structure to make sure that we can map the fields that reside in Flexi to the fields in 360. This will then enable a semi-automated migration or electronic migration. This is currently sitting in pilot phase. We're testing it with 2 of our migration partners. And once we are comfortable, we can roll that out and start discussions with our insurers as to how we can facilitate those migrations. In addition to this, we have 3 very easy to use front-end functions that really facilitate the assistance for our brokers during this migration process. So first and foremost, a client details import. This is an import that has been designed to extract all of your client information from Flexi, including address details, banking details, all of those sort of information, for you to import it directly into 360 so that the client records are ready to work with in the 360 database. The transfer of electronic documents. So we've built a standalone utility that easily facilitates the transfer of all electronic documents from one platform to another on client level, on policy level, and on claim level, or for your entire book, depending on how you want to utilize it. And then we've also designed various asset imports. So on every commercial type of business, we've allowed for exports to take place from Flexi and for those assets to be imported into 360 as part of a policy by policy move process. Okay, the steps for migration. So all migrations have to be registered with our project office within Cardinal Pro and are prioritized based on capacity. Once the migration is in motion, we execute on a formal implementation cycle that consists of 8 phases. Phase 1 is contracting and licensing. So that's really where we just agree the way forward with our partners from a licensing and contracting perspective. Once that has been finalized, we go into phase 2 and phase 3, which talks about business alignment and business discovery. And it's really where Cardinal invests time to make sure that we understand exactly how the broker business functions, to make sure that we can offer them all of the automation and all of the configuration that Cardinal 360 has to offer to make for an optimal working environment. Phase 2 and phase 3 are probably the most important steps to make sure that we understand exactly how they operate and we can implement the system or do a solution design according to those requirements. So phase 4, which is the solution design and configuration, we really take the knowledge that we've built up in phase 2 and phase 3 with these brokers to make sure that we design and configure their system to work optimally. We then go into solution development. When we embarked on this journey originally, evaluated critical functionality or the best functionality that resides in Flexi, and brought that across into the 360 stable, making sure that when we embark on these migrations, the bespoke development that are required for these brokers are minimal. If there is any development, that will form part of phase 5. Phase 6 talks about change management and training. And as I mentioned to you guys, this is one of the most valued phases in the life cycle. We need to make sure that our brokers understand the process that they're embarking on. We need to make sure that they understand the system and that they are comfortable to move forward in their operational environment. User acceptance testing to make sure that they understand exactly what was implemented and they're comfortable with what was implemented and tested it and signed it off prior to go live. Okay. So what do we need from you as our insurer partners? So we really value our partnerships with our insurers, making sure that collectively we service the broker needs in the market. In order to do that, we need to make sure, firstly, that the products are up to date and ready for use. We need to ensure that the latest version of the product resides on 360 and is available for use by our brokers, making sure all of the latest changes have been implemented into 360 and making sure that the insurers regularly sign off the products and can confirm to the broker market that the products that reside on the system are in fact correct and ready for use. Secondly, a quicker product rollout. So we have defined governance that exists with all of our insurers on how we roll out your products, how we sign off your products for each of the broker rollouts that we do. Considering the volume of products that we need to roll out over the next period for the amount of insurers and the amount of brokers that we are trying to service during this migration, it's critical that we find a way to sign off, verify, and deploy products in a more efficient manner. Not to say that we disregard the current way of working, but just finding a way that we can churn out product quicker and churn out the correct products for the brokers to work on. Then a united front, this is extremely important for us. We need, for Cardinal and our insurers to continue on with our partnership and to ensure that the brokers execute on these migrations as quickly as possible. And there's no bigger driver than insurer support for Cardinal to facilitate these migrations to happen quicker. At the end of the day, this is a mutually beneficial migration, so we want to make sure that we get everyone over as soon as possible, as smoothly as possible, and as correct as possible. And then lastly, sharing in the strategy. It's extremely important that as part of our partnership, we align in our approach and the planning of the brokers that we're rolling out, making sure that we are deploying the right brokers at the right time for this migration process. Okay, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If there's any questions with regard to the migration, I urge you to speak to myself or Craig, and we'll participate in any form of discussion to see how we can help each other benefit from this process.
Anita, thank you very much. Thank you, that was really good. I can see from the questions, no, they all disappeared. I don't know why they all cleared out of my inbox. Let me just quickly have a look.
I can see them if you want me to read them.
I can see the questions and Rovlin, thank you. I think you've got a lot of questions that you posed onto the group. What I can suggest from a technical point of view with security, with regards to APIs and the services and everything around that, to arrange a session with you as well and anyone else that wants to attend with our Chief Solution Architect, Brent. And we can go through the security around the system. We are all business people, so can't answer those technical questions. You've asked a question, is your BR functionality customizable? And the answer is yes. Is the BR built into 360? It's built on top of 360. So that does access the 360 information. And one nice thing that we're busy signing off now is we've integrated the Flexi data into the BI model as well. And we currently run ClickView, but I know that we are looking at Power BI as an alternative with additional benefits. So it is customizable. It runs on top of 360. We're integrating Flexi, and we are looking at BI and other tools. We don't want to be locked into a single tool or provider on that. Is our platform web-based, or will there be an Android and iOS option? So our platform, what Devin went through, yes, it is web-based. We use progressive web apps, so it renders nicely on a tablet or on a phone or anywhere. It renders everywhere perfectly. And yes, we use the progressive web application. We've got a question here: is ClickView the tool of choice?
Craig?
Yes, Dave, go for it.
Can I just step in there? The second part of that question is, will there be an Android or iOS option?
Oh, sorry, I misread it.
Our architecture caters for that 100%. So whatever we build on the front end on the progressive web app, we can move to either iOS or Android or both. But our first choice is, for the first version of all of these technologies, it's going to be progressive web app based. And then clients would have the choice if they elect to move it to Android and iOS. So it does cater for it. Thanks.
Thanks, Devin. You've got a question here: what is your time frame to have 360i implemented in SA? We have built it as a multi-country, multi-language, multi-currency application, which is built natively in the cloud for the cloud. But currently it has end-to-end insurance functionality, but we do have to roll out additional capability before we can bring it into the local market, and we are working on that. But we will be introducing certain components into the local market, possibly towards the Q4 this year and early into 2022. There's fantastic claims features and claims options that we want to integrate into 360 via 360i. So watch this space. Happy to work together with you guys to get an understanding of where your priorities might sit and might lie, and we can see where the best opportunities are. And Roblin, you've asked how...
Craig, sorry, Craig, just to add to that, Roblin. So we're building our iPlatform layer so that there's no pressure on any South African clients to want to have to move. So we're building it out so all of the flexibility and capability that you need will be on the digital layer, so that you still have the power of 360. And we're also building the front-end layers so it's identical. So whatever you see on 360i as a front-end digital layer, the client experience will be exactly the same if you're on 360. So that no client is under pressure to think that they have to move to 360i.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Then the question is, how is the extracting and importing of data done? Denise, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, very carefully.
Yeah, accurately.
Very carefully, yeah. So there's different methods. So obviously I've mentioned the semi-automated migration that's a developer-driven process that's done database to database. So I'm not going to talk about the technicalities of that. With regards to the asset imports and the asset imports, the client exports and imports into 360. The data gets extracted from Flexi in a specific format that we've developed for it to be absorbed into 360. It does get extracted as a CSV file that gets exported, and then on the same server where we host 360 will be imported into 360 for the client data to copy across, and the same for the asset imports that gets created.
Thank you, T.
T, maybe you want to take the next question as well, T.
Yes, yeah, I'll read it. Does part of the business alignment and business discovery include understanding how products need to be standardized, or is this part of the solution development phase?
Yes, so part of the business alignment and the discovery phase also includes how products are structured, how they need to be built, and how we can standardize product with the insurers. Ideally, we wouldn't have that discussion with our broker partners. We would have that discussion with our insurers directly before even embarking on the journey with our brokers. The process that we follow with our brokers is purely alignment in what products do they want, and then we share with them what the insurer process or governance is with regard to the deployment of products.
Okay, thank you. Then the last question, will the implementation of the products maintain a business as usual scenario? And the answer is yes. I think that's all. There's a couple of other comments thereafter. So from my side, I want to first of all thank all of you for taking time out of your Thursday afternoon and joining Cardinal to have a look at our Innovation 2025 roadmap, and also to get a better understanding and appreciation on our approach and methods of how we handling the Flexi migration. So thank you, appreciate it. Any other questions, please contact me directly or Tanita and Devon. We're happy to field any questions and go through any technology stacks with the right people around the table. And then to the panelists, to Devon and Tanita, thank you very much for your presentations. Very professionally done and very well thought out, and really appreciate it. And yeah, that will close out the webinar for today, and looking forward to more exciting new webinars coming up shortly. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Craig.